Yeah, this weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script. Yeah, this weekend's not good for me. I have to work on my script.
Good morning, everybody. It is 6:01 in the morning on a Sunday. I have no clue when was it. I can't even speak. I don't remember when was the last time no. Yesterday I was streaming early in the morning. I'm out of touch. I am completely out of touch with everything. You know what I mean? I'm already out of touch with everything. Yeah, it's been something, right? It's been very something. Now, Now. What am I doing? What am I doing? Well, you know, a lot of things I want to cover. Got a few things I want to cover. Obviously, it's things related to not really Sticks and Hammer. Apparently, there is a docket that was released 2 days, like 4 days ago, about his trial. Stuff related to JF. You know, JF made a post a couple days ago related to his wife. If you're not aware about that, Jan Francouz I'm not gonna pronounce his freaking name. I'm not French. You know, we have things related to whatever's going on with Iran, the United States, and Israel. That's a whole heap of mess. You know, some stuff with local. I'm really not gonna cover local live. I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do a video at all about their whole weekend stream because there just wasn't much for me for a Saturday video or Sunday video. You know what I mean, right? I may cover the two streams that I guess Dick Gemini and Roxy did. Not really their own personal stuff, but just their stuff they did themselves. But I may cover their own crap as well on their personal channel because they both had two separate streams throughout the day. Which you know personally, I watched them and I was just like, this is a slog. We may look at some of their numbers as well because I think why not? It's important to just keep an update of what they're going through. But let me see where they're at right now. Currently, as we speak, right as they did not make a lot yesterday on their super chat or anything like that. Even if they got membership, they made a lot less. Right. But that's fine. I think if you're Roxy, I think that doesn't really matter. But the viewerships were dropping pretty fast from what I saw, and it was not good. It was almost half of what they got on Friday, right? So, or probably we were probably seeing more of their real numbers on. We were seeing probably what their real numbers were like closely, like yesterday, where it was around the 400s to 300 range, right? Because clearly their numbers Friday were all over the place, bouncing up and down. Now I do think that calling them botting, right? Just an opinion of mine. Maybe they were really botting heavily, but I do think that their numbers were they were too sporadic. Where other groups or other people I watch, their numbers are a lot more stable. Even if they're botting, it wouldn't be going up and down that rapidly. Okay, just an opinion, And then we got this whole situation back with with Iran and America, and like just some weird, like, what is it, like the United States hit some Iranian nuclear facilities, but then we were told that there was almost virtually nothing in those facilities. And then right after that, we're hearing that that Iran is probably gonna sue America. It's so weird. I was talking to a friend about that, and I'm just like, we were talking about that, and then Iran just came out with all of that later on, and it made me feel that, did we really hit a facility, or was it that like a psyop? Like it was just reported we hit something, but like we didn't actually want to hit something. You know what I mean? It's like we did a job, but we didn't do anything, right? Because if we're getting reports that like the facility we hit had nothing in them, then what the hell did we do there then, right? It's kind of not making any sense. When the more you think about it, it's like, what? Right? And I was on this all day yesterday because I was kind of very confused that, like, that we did something, but it didn't mean anything, and then now we're having legal actions against us, and maybe the legal action stuff was a little like over. Now some people think that like, oh, Trump hitting Iran is over. To some people, it's like, well, we haven't really got into a war. We just hit them, and so it doesn't mean anything or nothing ever happened. Right, right, right. I have no clue, right? And then you got OSC urging for impeachment, right? Some people think, that there's a chance that like this was probably done without like Trump's orders, and it was just he's just taking the brunt blame for it. Right? It's a situation that is much more interesting than its worth, right? I really, it's a very weird situation. The more you start to think about it, that you again, we hit something. There was nothing there, and then we're getting legal actions from at least from what I was, at least the last time I was reading up to it. Which is, obviously, I know people. I really doubt people come here for politics, war, or world affairs. Do I personally believe that this is going to lead to World War III? Not really. I don't think China or Russia is going to stick their necks out for Iran. It's not the same, like, let's say, in the case of, like, Israel, right? It's not going to lead to World War III because because the condition that because here, all right, think about it this way. Think about it this way. The conditions that led to World War I and World War II happening were way different now. The conditions for those wars to happen don't even exist nowadays for a number of reasons, right? Whereas World War I, with the buildup of centuries of resentment and political maneuver that couldn't be avoided, and empire that should have probably just given up certain territories and so on and so on, uh, led to the event of World War I. I mean, if you think about it, right, if it wasn't for a number of factors, World War I probably would have just been like, World War I probably would have just been just a small regional war between the Austrian Hungarian Empire and versus Serbia. It probably just would have been a minor war then and there, and then that would have lasted like maybe a couple, like 1 or 2 years at the most, and then that's it, right? And then they probably would have gotten support, like Serbia probably would have gotten support by Russia, but Russia probably would have not joined, right? There was enough reasons, right, that led to World War I nearly being avoided, at least for the meantime, until you couldn't avoid it. And the shifting of power during that period of time was different nation, different whatever, was telling. They're like they could make the case that Russia could have easily joined Britain, England, and France, right? Or a world where like England, Germany, and Russia could have joined together, right? And then that could have happened a few times, right? It, it's a true, when the more you think about it like that, yeah, yeah. Now I do hear the other. Now I'm reading something from the BRICS news. Judson Russian Demir. I mean, let's pop up this stuff. Now we're talking about BRICS as well, and I think that's also something. Now, do I think that BRICS has enough, let's say, political swag or political power or whatever as an organization to? I doubt it. It's just like It's just a political move. It's a PR move, right? But as I said before, right? As I said already, I think the conditions that led to World War One happening are not. We don't have those conditions, and the conditions for World War Two happening don't exist either, right? They don't exist in our modern world. There's not really that many great powers, even with something like China, for instance, which does not have the military or the naval capacity. Really, it's more about naval in the situation with China. And when we look at the war of Russia and Ukraine, it literally just bogged down to World War One tactics with drones and tanks and planes. That's what it bogged down to at this point. So I think that the condition for World War Three happening are probably non-existent in our timeline. Or maybe if it does happen, it's just imagine World War One, which World War One tactics, which is World War Two weaponry. Basically what we saw. Like if you want to see what modern warfare looks like with two industrial power, just like a Russia and Ukraine, where you think it's gonna end within a matter of weeks to months, but it has now lasted for more than 3 or 4 years at this point, where we got to a certain point where Ukraine was it wasn't attacking like heartland part of Russia, but it did enter into Russia, but in the result, the military got basically screwed over. Right? It probably was done as a way to boost morale for the troops, but again, it failed. It failed miserably. Drinking some coffee. Now, again, World War III probably is never gonna happen. Something if anything, let me find the post. Let me find Missouri Z post because I'm very much more influenced by his takes on world affair. Where what we're seeing is not great. What we're seeing is not the alliances of world powers, but what we're really seeing is just these great powers duking it out without really necessarily like killing each other or blowing each other from the face of the earth, right? That's what we're really seeing, and I think people have to take that into account, that we're not gonna see, there's also a question on whether or not we're going to invade Iran. I've heard this before. I've heard of a situation where there may be a potential invasion. And truthfully, an invasion of Iran would be a disaster, right? There's no, it's not even a question of winning the war. It's a question of just being backed, right? At worst, a war with Iran would just lead to a war with Iran would just lead to probably another Vietnam, but much more disastrous. Where I think in the case of Vietnam, where there was a lot of support, right, by from home. The State Department. They're breaking news from leading reports. State Department employee has been fired after video footage surfaced that appears to show him admitting he had given up illegal device and help up. Ooh, didn't know about that one. Let me look for this post. As we speak. But that's what I mean, right? That but that's what I mean. That oh my god, I forgot my whole point. That a war with Iran is not favorable towards anybody in the United States, and there's nothing to gain by it. Even if we were, backing up a random nation like Israel, it's not going to be anything worth fighting for. And again, it will be Vietnam in the modern age, but even much more bloody and brutal. It's not a question of taking land. It's not a question. It's just there's a lot of things from what I remember hearing that invasion would not be favorable. But also, on the other hand, the fact that that President Trump told people, the capital of Iran, to leave. It's so weird. It sounds like it to me. It sounds like this. It sounds like this is just a phony war, right? It sounds like no matter what we do, no matter what happens, that this whole war sounds so, not even a war, but it's just so phony. Like everything that we're seeing, at least on the American side, feels so. It feels so fake. Like we hit a facility that had nothing in it, right? We hit a facility that had almost nothing in it. That's what made it interesting. We hit something that had nothing in it. And then even Iran straight up said, like, yeah, there's nothing in those facilities. They've been empty for years. And then prior before that, uh, we had the president tell people of Iran capital to leave, right? It feels very fake. Like they're only doing this because they had no, like they're just being forced to. This close.tv, they suggested the U.S. and Israel military war game tonight. Iran strikes under Biden? What? Again, it feels fake. Like this whole thing feels 100% fake. Like none of it makes any sense. Maybe in the case of Iran is a real situation, but in the case of what I'm seeing in America, it feels pretty fake, right? I remember, like I think one of the things I saw a couple of weeks ago was like, and I know that again, like people are gonna say, well, didn't Trump give aid to Ukraine? Yeah, but like that was already there to begin with during the Biden administration. But from what I remember recently, they've been pulling out support in Ukraine. Again, like people are not probably not responding to the Iranian claim that there's nothing going, like nothing was just hit. Like maybe he's just doing this so like Iran is crippled, but there's no regime change. I think that's what people are worried about. Again, maybe Chad, I'm the crazy one who thinks that this feels very fake. Like nothing is like something is happening, but nothing is happening. Again, you bombed a facility that had nothing in it, right? Iran replies that the U.S. enters the war. Wait for the surprise now. I know that there was a report saying the Iran it's gonna hit a couple U.S. military bases. That's happening, right? That's happening, but what else? Like I mean that's been common anyway with the what is it, Utah to the juntas in what is it, in Kuwait, in those areas. And then there's intel from what is it, the Gavin, right? Saying that there's nothing. The report right here. Let's watch this real fast. Hopefully this won't hit my channel or anything. Let's watch some news. I don't know if you guys like this, where I just get into like world affairs and politics. If you guys like this kind of stuff.
What intelligence do you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon? Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
What intelligence do you have that...
That's funny. So you made progress toward the Ukraine peace deal, but Senator Garm and Palmer in Ukraine urging them to keep fighting down. Well, see, people have to be careful what they say. Their mouth can get them in a lot of trouble. Iran said, if you're serious about time, you tell Israel to stop airstrike. What are you trying? Hard to act when someone's winning we're ready to talk. We're speaking to. I mean, do European help at all talk with Iran? No, Iran doesn't want Europe. They want us. Europe can't help on this. I mean, that's fair. Like, why would I think in this case, why would the European nations want to get involved in this conflict? Like, this is, like, people may not like this, but the United States being a world power, they have to be involved more often. If not, that's just the reality of it all. Real politics. And in the situation of Europe is not a it's not a united country. It's not a united continent. And from what I've seen last time with Europe, there's been issues with the European Union. If things are supposed to, if one of my friend's predictions is correct, Europe may split between Germany and the rest of Germany and West Europe, right? There may be a split between like Germany and Eastern Europe and Western Europe under France. Obviously, in the case of England, England is going down its own path where England is going to probably create this weird thing between Canada, South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia, and the remaining colonial parts of England. Right, that's been something that's been spoken a lot recently, and I believe there was a report saying that that's probably becoming more and more, right? The Kansas Treaty or the Kansas Alliance, or I forgot what it's called offhand. That may be a thing in the future, right? So it's kind of proving that we are entering a very much multipolar world where we're not seeing simply the United States being the only great power, but we may be seeing like a resurgence of European powers again, right? Where Russia, if they could finally finish their war in Ukraine, may come out of it a little scarf, but at least there will be a lot more. What's the word? They at least will have more prestige, especially now. Do I think they're gonna take all of Ukraine? That's hard to say. They may take a little bit. They may take East Ukraine. They may just simply take just the coastal. Because if they're able to take the coastal part of Ukraine, economically, Ukraine will be very weak. There's only so much you can do through land shipment, right? If they take all of Ukraine, that can actually pose a real threat. Or they may just simply create a puppet state in the west part of Ukraine and then keep the East Ukraine to themselves, which is probably more going to happen. I'm not sure if they're going to focus. I know they're not going to focus. I know Get Crack and I, we didn't really talked about it, but we kind of brought up things like Eurasianism and Dugin. I think Russia is moving away more and more from Eurasianism as a whole, or at least certain element if it's not beneficial. They may be focusing more like a resurgence of the USSR, something more similar to that, or like the Russian Empire, where they may just take Slavic lands for themselves. Like, so they have Belarus, they'll have Ukraine, maybe they'll take the Balkans, right? Like Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, right? They may take those states, right, for themselves, or just create some type of puppet regimes in those areas, which makes more sense, right? I mean, before anybody says, "Oh, isn't that messed up?" I mean, like, the United States does that all the time, right? I've been around D-Dog for a little too long recently. Now, mind you, these are just my own takes, and I don't really expect most people to agree with me. I don't really expect people to 100% like think I'm right. Like, no, these are just takes that I saw, and for me personally, I don't know. I don't know what the best word would be. I don't usually yeah, I'm trying to think of the best word offhand. I don't clearly think I'm right, but I'm looking at it as more of an objective and more real politics, right? Just looking at it directly and not trying to get moral about it. Because I think a lot of people try to look at it at the moral cause, And I feel like in those situations that that's not what you're supposed to do when you're talking about politics. At least most of the time, which is probably more Machiavellian in that sense, where you're looking at things that, you know, real politics and not like trying to be quite moral. Now I'm trying to see what else we can talk about. Looks like Bandai is releasing some new Gunpla, which is that's gonna be cool. That's gonna be cool from my end. I'm gonna enjoy some new Gunpla. You know, for those people who like Gunpla like me. I like some good old Gunpla. We may watch majority of these videos on his prediction on World Power. There we go, I found it. Found his Twitter account. We may watch that video. Try not to spill coffee on my shirt. I have a white shirt going on right now. I may have to do laundry later today or tomorrow. No, or I know where the electric outlet for my laundry machine is getting fixed right now, so I may have to wait like a whole day or something. Now, okay, I think we can show a lot of this, right? I'm just making sure I can show what I can because like Missouri Z and I kind of agree on a lot of things. I've been watching his stuff as at least a little bit as like 10 years ago, maybe a little bit less than that. Like I'll say I've been watching him for at least anywhere between 8 to 10 years, and I've always enjoyed his content, right? And again, we're gonna watch some videos that he's done, right? So we got one where he talks about there's going to be no war retreat. We're just witnessing a return of great power warfare, which was inevitable, and yet I predicted he's right. Like 4 years ago, I think the war in Ukraine, I think it either just happened or it was going to happen, and he was right because you would think like, oh, the United States and NATO, right, were going to get involved, but they didn't. They got involved through shipment of weaponry and volunteer forces, but it never went further than that. I'm just gonna make it. If the EU wanted to be a great power, then they need to kick the Turks off the continent and return Constantinople. Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair point. Napoleon, I like his stuff, right? But you know, he's more in depth in politics than I am. He's more in depth in politics than I am. So there's that. I said Ariel. So this was from we completed our very successful attack on three nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow. I'm not gonna pronounce these right. I'm not gonna pronounce these names at all. All planes and outside of right. This is like what a day ago. This is him just telling that full payload of bombs, right? You know, good. And then it was his make your prediction. I must know on what Iran we're going to bomb. I think we will. I watched your video from a while back about proxy wars coming back between the world power. Why do you have to? Yeah. Proxy wars are coming back again, right? We're seeing that, right? We saw that during the Cold War, where we saw great powers, go at each other, right? During proxy war, we saw that in Vietnam, right? We saw that in Afghanistan, right? The great powers were competing against each other through proxies. But not people are watching my stuff. How many people are watching? We have 7 viewers. What the hell? Oh, we got 3 viewers. That's better. I like that. I like having 3 viewers. This is from. I hope you guys can see. This is from What If History. I've spoken about What If History a number of times. This is from a poem. My read on the situation is that Trump is not trying to start a war with Iran. He already stated twice that he doesn't want one. It's also completely to his ruling ideology or coalition. He has no conviction or no intention or incentives to do so, and it goes against all his received statement. The U.S. is the bigger fish to fry. And then always wrong. What if history versus never miss Missouri? Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's what happened when you fry your brain with. Jeez, Heavenly Father, forgive me for my sin. That's 100% true. 100% true. I think that's enough. I think that's enough for that at least. Are we going to war with Iran? Probably not. Probably not. It's just gonna let Iran and Israel duke it out. Israel does not have the capability of going to war. They have no support in the region. They have no real way to go into Iran. They just don't. And the United States doesn't want to really get involved, bar from what they gotta do. I think what the United States is doing is they're just doing a very much hit and run, but it feels like they're not committed. It feels like the United States isn't really committed to the war. Like, again, you hit 3 nuclear facilities, and none of it had anything in them. They were just empty facilities. It feels very fake. Like, it feels fake. Like, you hit a facility with nothing in them, right? Like, you hit a facility that has nothing in them. Like, it's just a weird situation we're seeing, right? That you why hit a facility with nothing in them? You know, like, if you're gonna at least like hit something in Iran, why not like an ammunition facility, or not? Maybe that probably would have been more disastrous. Fair enough. But it feels so fake. And I'm not the only one that must feel this, right? That you're seeing something that is like something is happening, but nothing is happening. And then obviously, I think even if Iran does hit a few military bases in America, I think those hits are not gonna mean anything besides just a PR. It feels like one big fake PR move that doesn't benefit anybody besides a certain country in the Middle East, and then that's it. And it's so. Okay, so AF posted American Israel military war game tonight, attacked on a year ago. So they were just playing from. So they did a war game with. That's what it is, between the U.S. military and Israel. With, I think that did happen. You know, now, obviously, I do prefer the Armenian government to go their own way than follow the rest of the world. I would be very open and honest about that. I am not a third worldist. I'm really not. But I think in certain situations like this, I think I'm perfectly fine for it. Hot take, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pretty sure Get Crack is probably like rolling in his grave. Not rolling in his grave, but Get Crack is probably laughing at me singing it out loud. And he's like, yes, that's the spot I want. Right? But again, one more time, and then we're going to move on from this topic. You hit a facility with nothing in it, then the country that says you hit a facility tells you that there's nothing in it. It feels like everything is just being played out like a bad soap opera, and we're just getting it for what it's worth. Let me see if I can find the article, or the at least like the reports that are being told. Because again, I don't think we're seeing World War III. We're just seeing great power just duke it out and then leave it as it is. I think anybody who sees it as any more than World War III happening, I feel like they just don't. I guess I'm just gonna say they don't really understand like real politics situation, where it's just this isn't World War III. Like yeah. Like this is from Ross Slater, right? Ross Slater right here said, Breaking: Iran has announced that it will pursue legal action against the United States. What does that even mean? Legal action. Legal. Like, that's what I mean. Like, what? Like, this feels very fake. I can't be the only one who reading these stuff and thinks that it feels fake. Right? That what we're witnessing is not even like, we're not even witnessing anything. Right, this is from an election wizard, right? Election wizard said, breaking: CBS News reported that the U.S. informed Iran that their only action is to attempt to take an airstrike on nuclear facility, mind you, nuclear facilities that have nothing in them. So you strike a nuclear facility with virtually nothing in them, right? Right, and that their plan. There's no regime change. It feels like nothing is happening. Like, it feels like to the outsider, to people who only care about wanting a World War III, because there's this weird fantasy about wanting another major world conflict that involves multiple nations, but that's not gonna happen, right? And then let's hear from leading report. Now, mind you, take everything that is being said here with a grain of salt, right? You have this from leading report. Breaking: Iran official assessed the nuclear sites were not damaged beyond repairs. Iranian officials claimed that their nuclear site hit by the U.S. and Israel strike on June 21, 2025 were damaged but not beyond repair. Akbar Sahel confirmed extensive damage to the Isfahan facility, but the IAEA noted no off-site contamination. So it's like, again, like, none of this makes sense. It feels so fake. And I know that I don't want to repeat a lot of things that Dalmatian Doc says, like the U.S. says. Like, I'm not gonna really try to repeat too much of that. But, like, when you hear stuff that nuclear site not damaged beyond repairs, it feels like the U.S. went into it and they just dropped the weakest payload that they can imagine, and then they just left. Like, they just like, all right, well, we'll just do it to shut the Israelis up, and then we'll just fuck off. Right. That's what it feels like. It feels like they just dropped the weakest payload that they can carry that can still do damage, but nothing more than that. And then they just, boom, left. And I wouldn't be surprised if the United States told Iran beforehand. Here's another one from EX Alert. Alright, here's another one. Now, mind you, take everything we're reading with a grain of salt, right? Before anybody starts making, like, Iran media network said that Fordow was completely empty and evacuated for multiple months prior to the U.S. strike. Developing: Fordow has been completely empty and evacuated for several months now. Then somebody asks, how likely is it this is true? What are the implications is true? The claim that Fordow was empty before the U.S. is unlikely true, as no credible source, including NBC, whatever, support, right? Said, if it is true, would suggest Iran's strategic foresight potentially protecting nuclear. I mean, it wouldn't be shocking if the United. It wouldn't be too shocking if. Right, it wouldn't be. Mind you, right? Iranian media news. Right, mind you, maybe this is the Iranians trying to say that, oh, nothing happened, right? And then maybe they're trying to ease world tension, right? Maybe there was something in there, but it wasn't enough to be like, again, it feels so fake. And so many people are thinking we're seeing World War III, but that's just not the case. It's not World War III. Russia and China are not just gonna simply get involved because you think they will. That's not how things work. You know, as I said before, when we look at when we look at the conditions that we saw during World War One, those conditions were nearly avoided a number of times, right? Those they could have been avoided, and even you can say beforehand there was a situation before 1914 or in 1913 where situations were avoided from World War One happening, right? Anywhere between the beginning of the 20th century, so 1900 up to the 1914, there could have been a number of times where World War One could have happened. I mean, there was even the Balkan Wars, right? That could have easily sparked World War Three. I mean, World War One. I mean, there was even the Crimean War, right? That could have sparked World War One. Even though that would have been like a little bit less than 100 years ago, that could have easily. I mean, so some people do believe that the Crimean War was considered World War One, or it was at least like kind of like a World War One type situation where you had multiple great powers getting involved, right, to balance each other out. You know, there was even the situation during the the French Indian War or the 7 Year War, right, where that was considered a war. That was considered a world war, right? So I see it as like World War Three may not happen in our life, like in our life. It just may not be. It's not gonna happen in the next couple of years, especially with Americans just not wanting war. There's no real chance of that happening. Russia doesn't want to go to war with the United States, right? Maybe if Hillary was around, probably that would have ended up happening, but that probably would have been a small little conflict, and then it would have just fucked off, right? In the situation, you know, if World War Three would have happened, I think it would have happened in the 2010s, where the United States had the most amount of power and their enemies were the weakest, right? Or at least the early 2000s, where they could have easily steamrolled Russia and China, where China wasn't economically strong, right? And Russia wasn't, and Russia was still recovering from the 90s, right? And Putin was just finally getting into a position of power where he can force the ruling oligarchy into his rule, into his, you know, under his thumb. Now World War Three, I think as time goes on, World War Three is not gonna happen, and I'm sick of hearing World War Three because it's not World War Three, guys. It's just a bunch of nations who are just hitting each other, but that's about it, right? It's just like a couple quick jabs and then boom, they're gone. World War Three, if it does happen, it's gonna be what we saw in Ukraine, where it's a slogfest, right? It is a slogfest of powers hitting each other, steamrolling each other, and then that's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Rewind is still going on. What the hell is Rewind? Did Rewind do a 24-hour stream or a 12-hour stream? They got pretty good views. I mean, it was better viewers. I'll say this right now. They got more the views right now.
65.
They've been streaming for 8 hours. Holy heavily fodder. I mean, it's better views than what Becky got, and that was just a Roxy solo stream with that almost. That stream was about to go below 200, and if it did, that's not good. I mean, the dwarves were right that their numbers are, you know, and then the question now is the LCU crumbling. Not really. Like I'm not gonna push something out there because that's what people want. I don't care. Right? And I'm sick of tired World War Three happening, which is not gonna happen. I'm sick of tired just of everybody saying, "Oh, LCU's crumbling." It really isn't. It really isn't. If they were crumbling, more and more hosts would leave. They haven't. Only two of the hosts that people already didn't like or left. Most of the other hosts just did not like Becky or Roxy to begin with for any amount of reasons. Oh, Dalmatian Dogs is streaming. Let's see what Dalmatian doing. Just playing chess. No one. Oh, I have. Oh, I didn't realize I can do that. See, is he? I guess he's streaming. I think he's doing. I guess he had nothing better to do but stream. That's good. That's good. I'm happy for him. How long have I been streaming? I've been streaming for probably like 30 minutes now. Oh, I've been streaming almost an hour. I just got into. I realized I forgot that when I get really into a topic, I can go on about it for hours on hand. I didn't realize that. I guess we can move on to JF. If you're not sure who JF is, he's a guy. He was on YouTube. Pretty sure he still is on YouTube. And I guess it's been 2 years since his ex-wife left. I'm gonna cover this because I think it's interesting stuff. I've covered JF in the past. I'm pretty sure I've covered JF in the past. I don't know why I wouldn't, but I'm pretty sure I've covered him in the past. But yeah, I'm done talking about United States and Iran. If anything happens, if anything happened, we'll report it. But it is what it is. This week marked the 2nd year anniversary of Mama JF leaving our home and fully disappearing in a spectacular fashion. To this day, she has not been found in spite of massive effort of authorities to locate her. Before leaving, Mama JF has obsessively read a news exemplar of preliminary records by Edward Snowden, which she has just bought, and explained that our cell phones are traceable and things of nature. I feel like I've heard about that. She left the family with many things, including a Bitcoin debit card on which about $20 worth of Bitcoin dust was left. Today, I spent the dust on a burger and chicken nuggets for the family. This one on you, Mama. Well, JF's situation is weird because, like, it's weird because it's been 2 years and there's been no report. Now there was a situation where there was a report, but it was a report, right? It was one report 2 years ago, and nothing ever came out of it, right? In that time, and from what I remember, JF has changed his stories. Like, Kino Casino has been covering this very closely. Good on them. And they keep changing their stories. He keeps changing his stories a lot of the time, right? About the disappearing. Because from what I remember, the original story was JF took her to the woods or something like that, and then he just let her go, and then that's it. But now you're changing the story that she just up and left, even though the original story was you took her to the woods or something, and then she just fucked off. I'm a little confused. Why you keep changing your story. It sounds like you did something wrong. And then, like, mind you, as we're talking about this particular story, sorry for that, guys. As we're talking about this particular story, what is it like? You just happen to leave Quebec. He's from Quebec. If you're wondering where he's from Quebec. Right, he's from Quebec. And from what I understand, he had to leave. I think he left Quebec or something. And that's what I mean. Like, this stuff is very weird. Like, you're saying that you're changing your story, and no one is buying it besides the idiot. And again, there was one report a little bit after her disappearance that she was found at a shelter, but that's about it. She's just up and just no more. So, and no one ever got out of their way to confirm that, right? It was a report in the news, but that could have been just any random woman, right? And it just happened, and maybe that random woman just happened to look like JF's wife, and JF's wife is a little slow. If you ever seen videos of her, JF has a thing for the mentally incapable. It's a real thing. Now, I'm not gonna throw in his personal belief because too many people do that, right? Just because he believes in something you disagree with does not mean that it reflects who he reflects his actions. No, they simply don't. There's enough leftists who've done a lot of questionable things. Yes, yada yada yada. JF isn't a leftist, but he's basically just a liberal with slightly more right-wing views on human biodiversities and all that shit. He is. I know because he is actually into biology. He actually does a degree in science. I think it's neurology or something. So he actually knows what he's talking about. Like, he's not an idiot. Like, if you actually get into debate about him, like, he's not actually an idiot. You know. And I'm not gonna throw it in just because of his personal belief, because too many fucking people do that, and it's like, come on, if people did that to you, you would get mad. Like, come on, stop playing these dumbass games. Drinking more coffee, getting my... And I'm actually shocked that I've even got up this early to even stream. I was thinking that I was, you know, a part of me was thinking that I wasn't going to be up this early to stream. I thought I would be up right about 8 o'clock. My family would have woken up and I would have been like, yep, I'm not going to be streaming. But I guess I'm streaming now. I don't know if you guys like it if I stream more in the morning, or do you guys like it when I stream at night? But I'll let you guys be the deciding factor in that that whole argument. There's not really much I can say about the JF situation. If anything, I'll cover it on a separate video, maybe a little bit more in depth, maybe want some Kino Casino stuff and see what they said. Besides that, I think we're gonna move on from the JF stuff. We talked about a little bit. Oh, hey, Crazy Stu, how you doing? I've talked about the what's his freaking name? I've spoken about Six and Hammer. There's a new docket report about his court case. I think he's supposed to go to another one in July, so in a month. He's supposed to go back to court, depending on the situation on that. For anybody who's not aware, he abused his ex-girlfriend, and did the whole recording of it. That's interesting to talk about. Sorry, just in the bathroom. I guess now we can move on. We can probably move on to a bunch of other things. I think we can move on to maybe the Menard stuff with Grace. Or we can move on to, besides the Menard stuff, we can talk about maybe the stuff between Prawn, since it's streaming right now. I may just raid him. I don't know if I can raid. Can I raid people? I may just raid Process. I may just have to do that. If it's still, if not raid Process, I may just raid Locale Reject. What else we can talk about? What else we can talk about? We may cover the Menard stuff again. I don't know why I repeat myself, because that was an interesting little saga we saw that lasted more than like a day at the most. Between Ben and Grace and that whole situation, with, you know, that whole stuff lasted like what? The whole Menard thing lasted a day. Grace was supposed to do a show. I mean, like, Menard and Ben were pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I actually enjoyed Menard and Ben quite a bit. But then Grace had to kind of fuck it up. But then, like, come on, Menard wasn't any better at the same time. Like, I don't know. If you want my honest opinion, I feel like Menard should have kept up the more Arabian energy that he should have kept up the whole time. If you want my honest opinion. Give me a second. I'm having some heartburns right now. We're gonna probably cover some of the stuff we saw with Becky and Dick Gemini and their streams with what's like, I don't even know what the fuck that shit was. Most of it was just pretty shitty. Becky wasn't even there, which did it really surprise you? Becky wasn't there. Now, mind you, they were drinking pretty hard, but Becky's pretty fat. Her body should have Becky's a fat ass. She should have been able to retain more of the liquor in her, retain more water in her body, but so on and so on. Right? Like, Becky's a fat ass. She should have been able to handle it a lot better, but she eats unhealthy, and I know she had bypass surgery. That's been confirmed by her that she had bypass surgery, and from what I understand from watching with Boogie, right? Boogie said that, you know, people with bypass surgery generally get drunker even faster compared to other people because they have a much smaller stomach, which sounds very true. And he was drinking, right? He was drinking, I know that he was drinking liquor infused coffee. So that's interesting. So I don't know. She didn't pop up at all, which is not a good sign, right? Right. If you have a week, even if Becky wasn't there, like, she could have just at least hosted it, and then, like, every so often just came in and talked to everybody and see how everybody's doing. Just come in and out, come in and out, come in and out. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong stream. Unless they took it down. I think, yeah, I have the wrong stream pop up right now. It's a one where Roxy's celebrating her getting yeah, I had the wrong stream set up, sorry. Right, where, you know, she had a liquor infused coffee drink. She was taking shots of that, so I can imagine. And plus, having bypass surgery, and I believe that someone was saying that she had new medication, so that's been affecting her quite a bit. I feel like that's a bit of a cope. I feel like if that's the case, then, you know, maybe don't do stuff like that more often. And if they're gonna be doing a lot of drinking streams, she has to pace herself way better. Maybe make it a rule like, hey, if I take a shot now, and if you give me $20, I'm gonna give me like a 15-20 minute break between each individual. Like, you gotta give me like a 10-15 minute break between shots, because if I take shots now, and if I do promise a weekend stream, I at least want to be there, but she wasn't. And I guess the whole point of this stream was to kind of raise money for them to go to the casino, but that didn't end up happening. Like, it's like they're doing, like it's been said, they're doing all the wrong moves. Let's watch this shit, right? Let's just watch this stuff, because, like, how is it entertaining? Again, right? I'm not entertaining. I don't claim to be entertainer. I don't claim to ever be entertaining. I don't claim more than be what I am, a simpleton who likes to talk about dumb idiots on the internet, sometimes about politics, sometimes about world of other stuff I like. God, I have heartburn. Holy shit. How long have we been streaming? That's the real question. We've been streaming for an hour. Cool.
We have the official Lol Cap brand hot sauce, signed by Billy Mitchell and Keemstar. Right here. This is the official, right there. For $50, I gotta drink the motherfucker. Of course, that is not one $50 super chat, but it accumulates. So whatever is sent. Well done, paint. What? Painted them frowns above your eyes. What the fuck? You tried it? How is the hot sauce? Because I feel like I'm gonna shit.
Yeah, it looks like his eye. Maybe he's just very hairy. God, that's just bad. That's just very bad frame. I mean, his eyebrows. You can either just very thick eyebrows, right? Like, you know, a lot of Arabs, right? He could be Arab. Who knows? He has very thick eyebrows. He could be like quarter Arab, half Arab, right? Or like maybe maybe he's just very European, very white. Those eyebrows do look
Get
pretty
myself
fake
out
on
of
him.
this motherfucker. Let's see, this is a fucking troll. Get rid of that troll right there.
Let's
Goodbye,
talk about that.
Venom. You can go in locals chat and talk about me over there. You ain't gonna do it over here. I heard one of them signatures are printed. That true? We can test it right here. I got me a pen. Let's do the goddamn scratch test. Y'all see it? The star right there. The scratch went through the star. Let's check his. Nope, they're both real. They both have a line through them. The ink come up. Not like it's valuable anyways. It's fucking Keemstar and Billy Mitchell. The fuck? It's actually really good. I'm glad. I don't know. I was always a collectible item. Let me buy it. La 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 la. Fuck Keemstar. Fuck Billy Mitchell. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Ain't nobody fucking know. Who know damn Billy Mitchell?
The fact that you don't know Billy Mitchell is like, well, if you're not a big time gamer, then I can see how you're not gonna know about Billy Mitchell. For the people who don't know about Billy Mitchell, I've known about it for 14 years now, maybe a little bit, like either between like 13 to 14 years. He was probably considered one of the biggest gaming celebrities. Like I think he's considered like one of the first, because he had a world record for Pac-Man, and then there was a competition between him and somebody else for getting the world record for Donkey Kong. What then led into this whole thing between him and Galaxy Gaming. I believe that's what they're called, right? Or something like that. I think it was Galaxy Gaming. It led into that whole situation with, I think they got resolved, but like nothing really happened. Then we had another situation right after. There was like a little bit of stuff between then and there. He got into quite a bit of controversy. People didn't like him for some years. Like he's a recognizable name, but from what people have said, the people that met him, they said that he's actually quite enjoyable to be around. He did the aura about him. Like I don't understand how you may not know about him, but if you're not into like gaming and all that fun stuff, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, he's been on the news. He's been all over X between him and Crowd. With I'm going to have to do a whole video on it. It's been too long. I gotta do a video because the guy Crowd, I think is his name, or Carl. No, Carl is his name. Who led the whole thing between him and the the completionist, right? Remember that whole situation? Completionist in Murohara and Carl that blew up, where like it was revealed that the completionist was not donating money to the organization that he was reportedly sending the money to, right? Remember that situation, right? And then Carl sued Billy Mitchell over the situation dealing with I can't remember the guy's name, the speedrunner guy, right? And obviously Carl side up everybody to think that it was about something completely different. When in reality, it wasn't. It was about the lawsuit about the actual guy, with Billy Mitchell won big time, right? And it was everywhere, right? That whole thing was everywhere on X. Nobody could have avoided that whole thing. It was all over the commentary community. It was all over the gaming community. It literally was the biggest thing for days on end. It was being covered it was covered by everybody. I gotta do, even Billy Mitchell, right? Billy Mitchell himself. Oh, we gotta look into that. We're gonna postpone this shit. I don't think anyone really gives a shit. Let's look into the Billy Mitchell stuff, because that stuff was hilarious. Billy Mitchell was lapped. He was doing laps all around Carl. He was just running. He was doing some big time laps around the man. And Carl didn't even for some weird reason, Carl decided to use ChatGPT and all that shit like a fucking dumbass. Like, I get it if you're using Grok, I get it, but like if you're using both of those things, if you're using both, we're just gonna say screw it. Right. We're gonna talk about this because we'll get back to Becky and all that. Oh yeah. We'll get back to Becky and all those fuckers. But right now, let's look through this, right? Should I sue iDubbbz, right? I just booked my first vacation sponsored by Carl Jobst. This man is rolling in his grave. He is dancing on his like grave, right? How can they always fucked up the story so majors though? Carl Jobs act if he wasn't a private criticizer. He wasn't privately criticizing the media for misrepresenting the case before he proceeded to propagate those same reports. Oh my god, this guy's a fucking dumbass. We're gonna just get said Carl Jobs plan to post an update video. All incorporated my response into part of my statement. In the meantime, here's the current code. However, I can confirm I never lied a single time. Like the best way your actors sometimes only clear out. The worst thing I did was rubbish inaccurate news report. I couldn't have been clear. Like what? What? Dude is literally taking so much fucking L. I have to cover this stuff. Billy Mitchell are ups. Billy Chats are up. Papa Billy ready going off the opinion. At least he's accurate with the 50% for now, Brian. Oh my god, this man. Feeling hate for somebody that you never met, spoke to, and lives across the Pacific Ocean is disturbing behavior. However, I do hate Billy, so my decision makes was clouded. I learned that IDub took his wife last night. He's officially received a stamp of disapproval from the king. IDub guy just can't catch a break. Every time I open this app, he's getting burned alive. You either die an absolute legend or live long enough to become a low cow. I mean, he's not wrong. He is not wrong. Oh my god, let's look.
This tactic of omitting inconvenient information to his desired narrative is common in Mr. Jobs' videos generally. Not just the videos about me, all of his videos. Here's an example from his I Lost video.
To be clear though, I never said Billy caused Apollo's suicide, nor have I ever believed that. No one is responsible for Apollo's decision other than Apollo.
That is a very clear statement from Carl there. He never believed that anyone was responsible for Apollo's decision except Apollo. Well, let me show you in an exchange that occurred between my barrister and Mr. Jobs while he was on the witness stand at trial. Here, Mr. Jobs is saying to the court, to the judge, that he did in fact believe that I was a factor in Apollo Legends' decisions. And before you ask, yes, Mr. Jobs said this while under oath. You can make up your own mind, but it appears to me that Carl either lied directly to his fans about this, or he lied to the court under oath.
Every now. I believe it was Billy Mitchell in Twin Galaxy. There it goes, Twin Galaxies. That there was a whole court situation about that. That whole thing is not related to this. So yeah, Jobs sued Billy Mitchell all over about Apollo Legend. Oh, it's sad because I actually really did enjoy Apollo Legend stuff. He watching a lot of speedrun documentary really got me through 2020 and 2021. But yeah, Jobs was suing Billy Mitchell over the Apollo Legend stuff, and Jobs was lying about it the whole time. Like, so he kept playing. He kept saying that it wasn't about that, but it is about that. And so in his latest video, he's clearly lying. And Billy Mitchell, with his receipts, just said, "Dude, you're lying about that. You were suing me over.
Of omitting.
You're suing and you're omitting the fact that you were suing me over the Apollo Legends stuff." So clearly, like, just admit that you're lying about something about it. Like, dude, like, grow the fuck up. And like, we can keep going down. Like, here's another one.
In this video, I'm going to tell you why most men will never approach women. Now, the answer might be a little bit different to what you normally hear, but I really think understanding this one key principle could be the most important thing you need to understand if you really want to overcome your approach anxiety. Now, what do most men think is the problem? When I ask men, why aren't you approaching women, they'll normally give one of two answers. So one is, I don't have enough confidence.
Fair.
And the second is, I'm feeling too much anxiety.
Fair.
Now, I'd basically teach that confidence is the lack of anxiety. So if you're not feeling any anxiety, you're feeling confident. If you're feeling confident,
Let's see what. Let me lower this sound. Let me lower the gain. I have family waking up. Is he telling how is he talking about how to pick
in
up
this video,
women?
I'm want to overcome your approach anxiety. Now, what do most men think is the problem? Are you feeling confident? That is too.
You're taking relationship advice from a guy like this who couldn't even win against the King of Kongs. Dude, what the fuck? The guy's a manlet. The guy's a manlet. Carlos Dwarfs, who is 5'7", porn addict, has responded to my video by claiming that he is 5'9". Even in his intro post in Discord on October 14, 2017, he exaggerated that he is 5'8.5" and today needs to round up the last half inch. Ace 31, height 140, short-term goal, piano, moonlight, sonnet. I'm not. Third move, guitar. What the hell? Second YouTube viral video created driving self-development community of a driven man. Midterm 1 million YouTube sub earning 5K. I mean, you could probably do the YouTube coach, your personal coaching. You're taking coaching advice from him. What the fuck is wrong with you? Long-term rhetoric. I am not. He's a fucking manlet. He's a manlet. A manlet.
In this video, I'm going to take confidence, and the second.
I need to do a video response to this. This is just too funny not to. Thank you, Billy Mitchell. Thank you.
Second is, I'm feeling too much anxiety. Now, I'd basically teach that confidence is the lack of anxiety. So if you're not feeling
No. I think you can still be confident and still have some form of anxiety. You could be, especially if it's very internalized compared to externalizing it. I've known people who are very confident, but they tell me that they have a lot of anxiety inside, and they're able to overcome it.
confident. If you're feeling confident, you're not feeling anxiety. So those two answers are essentially the same thing, right? Now, I just want to say that answer is actually flat out wrong.
What?
And second of all, the answer doesn't really make sense. And in order to explain why that is, I'll just give you an analogy. So let's take a guy who...
You can simply tell that he has very little understanding what he's talking about, because he has all these books in the background. It's different if... Okay, I can't remember who said this. It's a good Twitter post saying that people who have books all over themselves or have books here and there don't really read those books or don't understand the material they're reading. Now, there are cases where there are people who have an understanding of the material they're reading, but it's usually shown as a way that it's very mid-wit level, right? Where they think that by having a bunch of books around them or near them or next to them makes them feel smart. I have a bunch of books that are like literally I'm looking at right now, but I haven't gone through them because I've been focusing on this stuff and other stuff in my personal life. So I haven't been able to read through the books that I'm currently reading. And on my right side, where I have my Gunpla collection, right, that I personally have built. I made some Gunpla videos. If you guys want to watch them, go watch my Gunpla stuff. But right beneath those, there's a lot of books, and I have them sectioned out between those which I've read and those which I haven't. And you can clearly tell that there's a lot of books I've not read, right? But I don't like to show that because that's not who I am, and I feel like people who have to show the books they're like right now. A book I'm currently reading is Tom Clancy N-War, which is sort of based off the game N-War, right? The RTS game, right? From N-War. But I need to finish that game, even though it's like a 4X game, and you know how 4X games are like, but there's really no conclusion. It's kind of more like you have an objective, and that's really it. Um, and then it's technically my first Tom Clancy books. I'm finally reading. Really good book. This is a very good book. But I'm not gonna like talk about like I understand some things. I understand that they're talking about geopolitical stuff relating between the Russian Federation, the European Federation, and the United States. They're talking about oil and resources. Their reasoning for fighting. Their reasoning for fighting. Everybody has their own reasoning for continuing the war, where they should have probably ended the war. Canada is involved, and Canada is in the middle between two great powers because, military speaking, it's just incapable of protecting itself. It can't win a war. Like, you can say that it can hold off against Russia because Russia is so far away, but that's only for so long. And compared to the United States, they may not be able. They can hold on the United States maybe for like a day or two at the most. But what I mean by that is probably like they may have to evolve into guerrilla warfare, and the Canadian government probably doesn't have the might. Same thing with the Canadian people, right? Then there's this whole thing about a terrorist group that was funded, that was getting support by the United States and Russia and the Europeans, and they use them as a bit of a proxy. I'm not gonna go into that much depth and how they're using space. They have these new technology that makes nuclear weapons obsolete in a weird way. How there was a real threat from Russia that with this one space program, the United States is able to land any military could land I think it was either a battalion or a platoon of Marines anywhere they want around the world, which is very devastating because that means they can just not have to deal with airspace or naval stuff. Sorry, I'm peeling an orange right now. So, but I'm not gonna talk about it like that. Like I'm not going to like go on and on like most people do, right? Because I have no reason, and I know that some of you guys probably don't give a shit, right? Maybe some of them, maybe as time goes on, maybe some people care more about what I'm reading or what I'm talking about and go into more in depth. But besides that, besides that, I have no real reason to show off that kind of stuff because I do think it's a level of midwittery, right? It is sort of a level of midwittery to do stuff like that. Because it doesn't make you intelligent at all. It doesn't make you any more smarter than the person next to you. Right? Especially if you're reading the material but you're not understanding it or you're not grasping abstract conceptions or abstract ideas. But that's just a game theory. That's just a theory. A game theory. So okay, Reject's still streaming? No, they just ended their stream. I was gonna raid them. It literally they had a stream and they just ended it. Should have probably told them to come to me. Probably should have told OPC Don, come to me. Let's keep watching this video. I still have heartburns.
Who wants to go to the gym and work out. He wants to, increase his strength, for example, but he's not currently working out. So imagine if I were to ask him, "Hey, why aren't you working out?" And if he came back to me with an answer like, "I'm not strong enough. I'm not working out because I'm not strong enough." That answer doesn't really make sense, right? Because the whole point of going to the gym generally is to get stronger or increase muscle size, but, increasing muscle size and getting stronger are going to be hand in hand. So that answer is kind of weird, right? And the point is, it doesn't matter how strong you are, it doesn't matter how weak you are. When you go to the gym, there's going to be a weight that will be appropriate. So even if you're so weak that you're only lifting 2 pounds, the weight's still there. It doesn't matter. You don't not go to the gym because you're weak. You just go, but you just lift a light weight, right?
Oh, that's what it was? Oh, that sounds like him. That sounds like Dalmatian would do that.
It's really simple. Eventually, because you're lifting the correct weight, you will get stronger, and that's the point. So you go there when you're weak, you do the reps, you find the right weight, and then over time you get stronger and you start lifting heavier and heavier weight, right? So that's how it works. So
But yeah, but the thing about that, Carl, is it's also depending on why. Like, that is one way. There's a reason. I mean, also like it's depending if you're going for strength or muscle, right? Or you're going for some, or like an aesthetic build. Like everybody who goes to the gym goes for different reasons. And besides that, right? But besides that as well, like I know people who go to the gym and they focus more on strength building. Strength building is way different than muscle building. Muscle building is way different than an aesthetic build. Like there are, and eventually you are gonna hit a point where the three of them do collide under one, where you're gonna probably do something because you're just trying to maintain a certain body look because you want to keep the aesthetic, or you're trying to maintain the strength build that you already have, right? Like everybody that goes to the gym is way different. It's not simply to feel strong. Like strength building is way different than muscle building, right? I believe that a lot of the biggest muscle builders don't have the most amount of strength, but even then, eventually they hit a point where they have to focus on strength building to even carry some of the weight. So it gets to that particular point.
When I ask a guy, why aren't you approaching women? And he says, I'm not confident enough. What it is actually saying is he doesn't understand how approaching works, and that different approaches actually cause us to feel different amounts of stress. And what he's actually doing is he's going out and trying to do approaches that are just too stressful, right? That require a high level of confidence. So when we realize that approaches
Okay, but like just like the whole gym situation, like is he approaching her for what? Is it just for a date? Is it to get a hookup? Is it to get married? To develop? It all depends, right? If you're just trying to get a nut in, just be very honest. And most women would tell you no, depending on how you look. But if you're very confident, you're blunt about it, you'd be very surprised.
we can start to actually find the correct approach for us. And I'll give you an example of how different approaches affect us differently, and you can just easily understand how different approaches will stress us out in different ways. So for example, what is more difficult to do? Go up to a girl, throw out a routine, try to make her like us, try to make her friends like us, try to physically escalate, try to make out with her, or even bring her home that night. You can see how difficult that would be, as opposed to just going up to a woman and giving her a compliment and then walking off, right? So even though obviously one approach will have a greater chance of success, as far as the level of confidence that we need in order to do it, they're greatly different. And the problem is, guys who do have a low level of confidence, which I'd say is the majority of men.
Guys, if you're paying for this shit, you should be made fun of. If you're paying for this dumb shit that we're watching right now, you should be made fun of for the rest of your life. Imagine taking lessons from a guy who's probably not the most confident and lost a lawsuit against Billy Mitchell that he kept lying about. Like, imagine that much.
I go there, reading a book, or they're watching a program on, how to meet women. They're taking these this advice, and they're taking these exercises, they're taking these approaches without even thinking about how stressful it is, and they're just going out and trying to do them. But most of the time, they're just not confident to do it. And what they do is they go out, they try to do the approach, but because it's too difficult, they don't do anything, right? And what they need to actually do is basically tone it down. So they need to go out, try an approach. If it's too difficult, if they're getting too stressed out, if they're feeling too much fear, they need to try something that's a little bit easier. But that's not what men normally do. They normally go out, they try technique, they can't do it because they just freeze up, and then they think, I need more confidence, right? I'm going to go home, I'm going to think hard, and then next week I'm going to come out and be more confident. But that's not how it works. It's like backwards thinking. You don't go to the gym, try to lift up a weight that's too hard or too heavy, fail, and then think, I'm going to go home and get stronger and then come back and lift it. It's not what we do. We take down the weight, we find the one that we can do, and then we lift that. So
yeah, but if you're doing it right off the bat, then you're just a dumbass. Like, if you're going to the gym and assume that you're gonna do 30 pounds, 40 pounds, like, dumbbell curls, and yeah, you're a fucking idiot. Right? But, like, most people have to learn the hard way about their own, who they are personality-wise, right? But most people who go to the gym, probably depending on if they're already fit or not, or how physically active, can sometimes lift maybe, like, 20, 25 right off the bat. In some cases, even 30 off the bat. But that's all depends on the workout you're doing and the body part you're doing, right? You're not gonna do like, you're not gonna right off the bat do like 30-pound chest fly. You're not. You're not gonna be able to bench press like 205. I mean, there are some people who can do that right off the bat, but like those people already are physically active and they do a job that is already physically active. So it depends, Carl. It depends, Carl.
I recommend guys who have high levels of approach anxiety basically just start off by going up to a woman, giving her a compliment, and then walking off.
Okay, but doing the complimenting thing can get you in a lot of trouble, and that's like a dumb advice. The best advice I can give you is just be yourself. The best approach really is just go to the supermarket. Oh, go to a female cashier. Just strike up a small conversation. Ask her how her day doing. Tell her she looks, just even if she's not the most prettiest woman, just give her a bit of compliment. Just make her day. Just be genuine. Be nice about it. It's not about. Because if you just go up to a random woman and say, "Hey, you look like," depending on who you are, now they may not like that. They may see that as some type of predatorial. Who's taking advice from this dumbass? Who is taking any of? If you're taking legal advice from the dumbass, you know what? You deserve to lose your court case. But if you're taking any, who?
Now, it doesn't matter how confident you think you are. Almost every guy will be able to do that without too much difficulty.
Yeah, but there are some guys who are just natural. I need to do a full-on respond video because this is so freaking stupid.
Even the sheer act of going up to the woman, even though you know you're going to leave immediately, just the act of going up to her will generally create some level of anxiety. Now, because you're going to feel anxiety and still do the approach, it's going to still have a positive benefit. So our body is going to get used to it. Our body is going to get used to feeling the anxiety and doing it anyway. Now, even if you think this approach, won't get you any success, which, may or may not, it's an easy approach, what will actually happen is, as the weeks go on, you'll get more confidence. And then eventually, over time, because you're actually doing approaches, your confidence will get to a level where you can go out and do the approaches that you really want to do. You'll be able to go out and try to build relationships. But you can't go from nothing to that. Some guys can. I mean, some guys already have the confidence to do that. Great for them. They don't have to worry about it. But a lot of guys do have approach anxiety. And if you do, you have to actually, treat that.
Yeah, but again, if you're just going up to, like, again, depending on people, you may get the cops called on you. Like, I don't know. Like, again, don't really take too much advice from a guy who's a man-led.
So you have to go out with a plan, and you have to go out strategically and work on your approach anxiety first. Build your confidence up over time, then you'll be able to do the approaches that you really want to do. So the moral of the story is, it's not your confidence level that's going to affect whether or not you approach. What's going to affect whether or not you approach is how difficult is the approach. And the main reason men don't approach is because they stress themselves out too much. They're trying to do things that are too psychologically heavy. They need to make it easier on themselves, start off with some novice approaches, start off with approaches that are relatively easy, and over time they're going to develop the confidence they need in order to do what they really want to do. So to put it simply, it doesn't matter your level of confidence, it doesn't matter how much anxiety you're feeling, there is an approach that you can do. So go out and do it. Hey guys, now if you are serious about overcoming your approach anxiety, please download my free ebook, Approach Her Now. You can click on the link below, it'll take you to my website.
There's always something, Let me see, when Carl jumped the fence, defamed you in over 20 video, but you only shoot him once because you're a chill guy. Carl being, this is just hilarious because this man, he is ragging on Carl. He is doing whatever. He said, why do YouTuber give the worst apology? I think I heard Billy Mitchell was gonna buy Creator Clash 3. This is great. I didn't realize that the YouTube community, commentary community, would approach my wise experience and unparalleled takes this much. Maybe I share more often going forward. Going forward, I don't know much about Creator Class 3. What I have is enough business experience to see an event on track to burn a lot of people out of a lot of time. Yep, he was right. He was 100% right. I was literally 100% right. Because, oof. I'm still shocked that people don't know how to respond to drama properly. There are plenty of examples to learn from. Yeah, the Carl, you were freaking out telling people you gotta sell your house. Start your day with Billy Mitchell quote from a King of Kong, a fist of quarter, and the start of the day. What the
And they are, and that's fun. But competitive gaming, when you want to attach your name, there'll always be the argument that video games are meant to be played for fun. Believe me, some of it's a lot of fun. Video games are meant to be played at home, relaxing, on a couch, amongst friends. And they are, and that's fun. But competitive gaming, when you want to attach your name to a world record, when you want your name written into history, you have to pay the price. I had somebody draw an analogy for me once that I always remembered. The top French pilot in World War I shot down 24 enemy planes. The top American pilot, you don't know his name, do you? Nobody does, but it's Eddie Rickenbacker. Shot down 26 enemy planes. The German ace, the Red Baron, everyone knows who the Red Baron is. That's because he shot down 87 enemy planes. I mean, he was the best. There's a level of difference between people.
My knee also the Baron was the Red Baron was flying planes at a time where plane tactics and maneuvers were not really established, and I believe the life expectancy for most pilots during World War One was extremely low, because you could get a couple good kills and then boom, you'd be dead yourself. So there's that. And mind you, it was a time where they didn't have ejections or anything. So if you got shot down, you're probably more likely gonna die. I love Jap. Wow, absolutely, dude. Man, the Gooner. Carl Johnson, the Gooner. I'm considering paying to boost my tweet due to this. Clearly, I need to increase my reach even further. A statement from Billy Mitchell, Carl Job, coming soon. What does that even mean? It means Billy's out to be scared. Maybe I finally realize I'll get cents in the dollar for my account. Australia is against the law of creditor of debt collector to harass or imitate debtors. Billy Mitchell got me a job at McDonald's finally. As long as I make sure and provide people with America's finest hot sauce Rickies. New video of Jarokov is a YouTuber who cover video game related scandals. He recently lost a huge lawsuit to the King of Kong, Billy Mitchell. In this video, I covered it while criticizing some of the best cover. I gotta watch it. I gotta watch Mitchell's Albert video on this. I'm gonna bookmark this. I'm gonna bookmark this one. Because I felt that his cover, Carl's whole thing on completion, it felt aggressive in the worst way possible. It felt that Carl was doing everything he can to maximize the damage while also increasing his own pocket. It felt like that, and it felt that Mutahara knew what Carl was doing, but never just stopped him, right? I mean, there was a point where, if people remember the late conversation between Mutahara, Completionist, and Carl, the Completionist was literally scared out of his freaking mind.
Hi, Carl Jobst here, creator of ApproachHerNow.com. And if you're looking to increase your level of confidence around women and decrease the amount of anxiety you feel when you want to approach women, you've come to the right place. I have specifically created this website to help men who want more dates, relationships.
Guys, I gotta cover all of this. This is one of these days. I gotta do a whole stream of Carl's life advice and dating advice. I'm gonna do videos on this. This shit is a gold mine. Why hasn't anybody else done this yet? Holy shit! I know what I'm doing all day today. I know there's a. I think Roxy's gonna do a stream. I don't know Dick Gemini or any of the lockout people. Or I know Miss Medica and Kirsa are gonna do a big stream today, so I'm excited for that. Right? If you're not, I'm gonna be so glued to my screen or my phone watching Miss Medica and Kirsa's their stream. I'm probably gonna buy a hat. I'm gonna buy a hat for my hat. Sorry guys, it's spud over after today. It is spud over. Once the Cureside stream pops in. No, it's only spud beginning. Oh look, I have 6 people watching me. Good on you guys for being autistic like me.
And sex in their life, but just can't seem to make it happen because the act of approaching a woman is too difficult. Now we all know it. If we can just go out and approach, we're going to get a lot of success. And this is true for many reasons. And this is why it is so frustrating when we can't approach. We know that if we can just get over this one obstacle, everything is going to be okay. A lot of things are going to take care of themselves if we can just go out and try to meet a lot of women. This is actually true. And if we can just get over our approach anxiety, we're going to get a lot of success and quicker than we ever have before. If you found it difficult to approach women in the past, I can assure you it's not because there's something wrong with you. If you can't approach, it's because you don't know how.
Oh my god. Tell me how, Carl. Tell me how. Is it the same like your lawyer stuff? Wait. I gotta read it. I got fucked because my lawyer screwed up and I wasn't allowed to show why I even said I didn't even make it. I just didn't make it up. It was just wrong, but I didn't just lie for dude, you lied for so many reasons. Now it's lawyer.
You don't know what to say, and I don't mean you don't know what to do. What I actually mean is that you don't understand how anxiety works, and you don't understand how to deal with it properly. I struggled with approach anxiety for 6 years. I went out to bars and clubs every weekend, hoping to approach. I actually went out with the intention of approaching. I would say to myself before I went out, I am going to approach this weekend.
I mean, that's not a bad idea. I guess it's not a bad idea, but it's like, come on, dude.
I couldn't. Something was stopping me. Now, this wasn't because I didn't know what to do either.
It sounds like you didn't know what to do.
Literally thousands of hours studying dating advice. I knew what...
Thousands of hours dating advice? Were you like studying the Blade when everybody was out partying, when everybody out doing the general stuff? I was studying the Blade of dating. What?
to say and how to say it. But that didn't help me when it actually came to doing the things that I knew how to do. If I was out at a club and I saw an attractive woman I wanted to approach, I would start trying to talk myself into approaching her. So I would say things like, what's the worst that could happen? Or, there's plenty of fish in the sea. Or, if I don't try, I'm definitely going to fail. And the thing is, all those things didn't work. My mind wasn't in control. My body had taken over and just was not letting me.
I mean, if you have enough willpower, right? If you have enough willpower to yourself, you can overcome anything. You can overcome your own body. But dude, come on.
Approach. Now, luckily, during these 6 years, I had broadened my horizons a little bit. I started studying things like self-development and psychology. And what I actually realized is...
Oh my god. Can I just say this, guy? Let me just straight up say this. I despise psychology. Over the years, I've learned to just straight up despise psychology as a whole now, right? Not that I think it's a pseudoscience, but I do kind of feel like it's becoming like a pseudoscience because everybody's like, I study psychology. I study this random person. I study Carl Jung. I study Sigmund Freud. I'm like, come on. Like, when I was young, I had an interest in psychology. But nowadays, psychology is like the equivalent of astrology. Like, oh my god, what's your personality type? Oh, I'm a Gemini. Oh my god, so am I. Oh, what's your personality type? I'm a IN, LTGBT, whatever. Oh my god, are you a plus or you're a minus? I'm like, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? I know that it's a thing like 24 personality types, and I was kind of big into it when like 10 years ago, but like as I gotten older, I care less about it. I feel like psychology has become like not even womanized, that's not the right word. It has devolved. It has no more meaning.
A lot of the advice I had been hearing in the dating community about how to overcome anxiety was completely different to the advice given by psychologists on how to overcome anxiety. I started incorporating ideas from diet and exercise, and I realized one of the reasons that a lot of us can't consistently approach is very similar to the reason that a lot of us can't consistently keep up a diet. And I realized that building confidence is very similar to building muscle.
They're just different. There's a clear difference. With dieting, it's more about a discipline. On the other hand, with anxiety, it's a you just can't. You just a fear of women. That's all it is.
And once I started using this analogy, a lot of things started becoming a lot easier. Then, after 6 years of trying to overcome my approach anxiety, I had a realization that changed everything. Now, as soon as I had this realization, success started happening quicker than it ever had.
A young
I went from someone who
entrepreneur.
couldn't approach at all to someone who could approach whenever I wanted. Now, this change wasn't instantaneous. I still had to do a little bit of work. But just to compare, I had more success in 1 month than I had had in 6 years of trying. And just as I had predicted, success with women came shortly after.
He's like that virgin guy you meet who got it in once and now he's claiming he's getting it in multiple times a day. Like, guys, I'm doing it. I'm getting it in. Like, okay, dude. Okay.
This website contains my realizations. If you read, learn, and apply the information I'm giving you, you are going to get success quicker than you ever have. I have absolutely no doubt about that. It worked for me, and it has now worked for many men. Before you start reading, I want to give you one final thought. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter how famous you are. It doesn't matter how much money you make.
Those things do matter. Those things do matter. Do you think a fat, like, as Boogie said, a fat guy is playing it hard mode as it is? It kind of does matter how you look like. It kind of does matter if you have money or not, right? Those things play a major factor.
If you have enough confidence, you can get as much success with women as you want. Now let me say that again. If you have enough confidence, you can get as much success with women.
If you have enough confidence like I do, guys, if you follow my guides, if you follow my words, you can get pussy every day.
Women as you want. And the best part is, confidence is something we know how to build. If you enter in your email address on the left, I'll send you my free ebook, which tells you everything you need to know about how to overcome your approach anxiety.
I gotta look for the ebooks and we're gonna read it on stream because it would be hilarious to read it on stream just to see how freaking dumb it is. Maybe we'll find some good tips, maybe. Oh, hey Sponge, how you doing, man? How you doing? I forgot Sponge is my mod. I want to keep him as my mod. See what else is happening. Billy's fuck. Assuming Billy loses, it will probably cost him 500K total, so $500,000. Imagine spending $500,000 to fucking lose. Give me a second, guys. Sorry, I added my dogs. Imagine spending $500,000 to fucking lose to a guy like me who has millions of YouTube subs and will make videos rubbing it until I die. If I was Billy, I would be scared shitless. Fuck Billy. Billy's fuck Billy's. Dude, you lost a case to Billy. Man, imagine writing I'm better than the average looking guy looking on social media bio. Speedrunner Perfect Dark. Oh, he speedrunner Perfect Dark and GoldenEye on N6. Also, I'm better looking than the average. Okay. What the hell is this? What? 500 videos in the first years alone, but he'll teach you how to approach her now. He's working on it. Yeah, my knees are tapping out already. King Billy is harassing me by tweeting my own Discord message. I'm soy and cannot withstand the curated flavor of meat in it. Oh my god! YouTuber Carl Jobs fight defamation claim made by American arcade gamer William Billy James Mitchell, an Australian YouTuber. He already did it. He lost. Oh my god. This is amazing. This is just amazing. I'll be right back, guys. I need to use the bathroom. We're back. We're back for more. Billy Mitchell here. I love reading through this. Is amazing. Things are these are trying times. This is what I'm eating for breakfast now. Oh my god. I don't know if I can even show that one right there. But he's a picked up artist. So you have an account, yes. Smith thread add me as a friend. Imagine adding somebody. Imagine having a Pornhub account and then you're adding them as the friend there. What is wrong with you? 4 terabytes. So hypothetically, let's say I have 4 terabytes of porn. And remember, this is just a hypothetical. What's the fastest way to transfer it to a new HD, new hard drive? He's a gooner. This makes way more sense. 4 terabytes. What the fuck is wrong with this man? Can't wait to have sometimes when a man loves a woman. Oh my god, this is just a gold mine of shit. I gotta go through and make a video where I'm just reading through Billy Mitchell's just tweets, and it's just a shit show. Just collect the best of the best. Like how Kanye West did. I should have done that. Crybaby Carl witnessed someone allegedly making false claims about him in a YouTube video and labeled target harassment and accuracy according with YouTube policy. I literally haven't changed my situation in 5 years, and when you go bankrupt, they get access to everything. Yes, if you try to hide a transfer thing, it's a voidable transition. To accuse me intensely doing that, just unironically defamation. I won't take action or given the fact that I accused of other crimes before too. However, at least in this regard, I didn't fabricate shit on my ass. However, what the LUS does would constitute target harassment by YouTube. Dude, what the hell? Carl Jobs is now threatening to take down YouTubers that publish videos about him. I would report him to YouTube. I would speak with YouTube partners. Imagine being that much of a bitch because you lost a whole lawsuit. You lost $500,000 lawsuit to Billy Mitchell, King of Kong, Kings of Dong. Billy's fuck, yeah, probably. Imagine if he won though. If he were to win, are you covered financially? No. Well, if he won, there'd be a massive harder for him to get caught, like hard to explain for a reason. I won't get into it. If I win, Billy's royally screwed no matter what. But if I win, I'm not screwed up. Dude, the internet meta, it kind of is. Remember when Grace was trying to sue or attempted to sue Keemstar? What is it? Remember when Grace was trying to sue Keemstar for defamation or threatened for defamation? Oh my god, it's way more common than it is Billy Mitchell. It's a lot more common. People ask how long my generational tweet run will at the same professional for 3.5 years until judgment. I am not sure. Probably until I get tired of it. I'll keep having fun for now. Yeah. In a future video, I would detail the gravity of my destruction. I wouldn't otherwise make it public, but I assume people are lying, saying he covered it all, and I just spent the GoFund money on myself or something. In the future, I'll list on how much I'm out of pocket. Do you spend? Joe. This is a good read. It was a good break from all the crap we were just looking at. What else? I've been streaming for 2 hours. Let's get back onto the YouTube shit. Let's get back. I don't want to go cover them, but we got to. I may do a video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do a video on lowcat. I'm probably not gonna do any videos on them till tomorrow or really Tuesday. So if there's no videos from lowcat live and mostly from the BBU, and that's why. I think I'm gonna cover the Menard stuff as well. I think that'd be a fun video that will probably come out at some point later today. Besides that, I don't really intend to cover too much. Because I gotta go through their streams, and maybe I will cover them, and I'll do one big video for Monday. So that's probably what's gonna end up happening. I'll do a big video on Monday with the whole LCU streams that happen on the weekend. I'll do that for you guys. You know, that's only fair. And then for the BBU, cause I'm kind of taking it easy with their stuff, because Friday I did a whole video about the Saturday I did a video covering their Friday stuff with the BBU, and I just kind of complained and ranted because they're both just complete dog shit at this point, right? They're both complete dog shit for a number of reasons. If you unironically think the BBU is better than the LCU, you're just a fucking moron. You're a knuckle dragger sub IQ individual. That's what you are. And you deserve to be ripped off by Becky. If Becky decides for some weird reason to go back to the LCU and she fucks over everybody and rocks it, you fucking deserve it. Just saying. Comes out brutal? Maybe. But I'm just being honest. You don't deserve much. Let's cover Dick Gemini shit.
King Kong, Donkey Kong, whatever the fuck you call it. Shit. No motherfuckers. Hell. But we got some clip to watch before we get into some shit. I know. I ain't worried about these damn super chats because I know they ain't gonna come in. Just like the cat food. I'm glad I didn't eat that fucking cat food today. If I ate that motherfucker, why isn't this link working? Oh, Lord.
That's pretty bad that you have to devolve into doing what they did in the LCU. You know there's just a failed carbon copy of the LCU at this point.
Okay. Got the damn clip. Let me pull the motherfucker up. Or I fucking freak the fuck out. I gotta stop sitting back like Tina. Okay.
Game.
Roxy Unfiltered clip. Okay. Motherfucker. Let's see.
Imagine trying to think you're better than Rewind. Like, I don't like
Rewind. I was doing all day today, barfing. I literally got to eat barfing.
Like, I don't really like Rewind that much. I don't really like Rock. I don't really like Xylee or Billy that much. But at least I know that they are quite entertaining. Imagine thinking that you're a mix between Milkers and Rewind. Imagine this being...
No. Look at her glasses.
I love kitties. Welcome to Unfiltered and Free, guys. There's going to be amazing content.
This sounds like a Christian YouTube channel.
Because there are so many.
Welcome to Unfiltered.
There's so much that happened just yesterday on videos I need to respond to that were about me. So best believe I will be responding again. Do not talk about me. I will not talk about you.
You with the lemon emojis.
Videos that I just want behind the paywall.
Imagine that. Imagine that. See what's going on here. Because it wasn't any better here.
There we go. Yep. Yay. Holy shit, that only took an hour.
Looks like they're still in the local queen stuff. Who's those people on the side?
Now I gotta fix this.
Yeah.
Most of Roxy's stream was just
Can you hear me
this.
back here? It's as loud as it'll go. Get the cake in my.
Totally into this.
Like, this is like, imagine like doing cakes, putting cakes in your face.
If someone joins Lord of the Flies, I'm gonna swig this motherfucker. Or you can't see it because the goddamn.
All right, I'm gonna take my headphones off so I don't mess them up. Okay.
Okay, do it.
All right, guys.
It. Oh wait, it's got sprinkles. Be careful, your eyeballs.
Oh, I know. I just hit my knee so bad, my bony.
You can tell this guy's a gooner.
Arthritic knee. All
You
right.
can tell this
here we
guy's a
go, guys.
gooner.
Oh,
shit.
fuck,
Close your eyes.
fuck,
Close
fuck.
your eyes.
One.
He's gonna hit.
Be gay for a few. You can see it was on YouTube.
No, I'm not. You. Why?
This is all what this is.
Or for the 50.
Imagine thinking this is better than the LCU. Imagine to yourself.
Yeah.
This is some gooner looking shit right here.
Imagine.
Brady, stop it. No, he's not.
What?
Saying Chucky's in the window.
TTS.
No. You go up on your board, Rock.
And then Pyra was here somewhere. I don't fuck. Again, imagine you think this is better than the LCU. Imagine thinking that this is any way better than the LCU. Just a fucking moron if you think. Right? You're just a moron if you think that this is better than the LCU. Like, at least I know the LCU is shit. I know that it's not always the best content. I'm aware, right? But I don't pretend that I don't pretend it's high art. I'm not pretending or gonna lie to you guys to start coping that this is better than the LCU. Right? And I'm not calling out anybody who likes this stuff particularly. But at the same time, you ask yourself, really? Do you think throwing pies in your face, throwing cakes in your face, asking $50 to take a shot of hot sauce is better than in the LCU? The same thing that they are known for doing. And let's look at some numbers. Let's just switch it over. IO should pop up. Perfect. So from what we can tell from their numbers, they have been on the slow decline at this rate, right? We can say what we can about, let's say, Queens and their issues and their numbers. Right? We'll look at Queens as well. We can look at Queens numbers as well. All right, let's look at them. See if it pops up. I realize ISO Speed has a One Piece. Shit, that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't really watch One Piece. Let's look at some let's look at hopefully it can make what I'm trying to make pop up. I have to capitalize it. That's what I gotta do. Twisted MS. Oh yeah, that's the guy who's the moderators for Becky and stuff like that. It's pretty, I guess. I don't shit. Low cow, Magic Mush, he's a pretty good guy. Milkers, I don't really care for Milkers. Where the hell Tina D? No one gives a shit for Tina D. Limping Lemur, I've seen his stuff. He's pretty cool. I like his stuff. It's giving me everything but what I want. Right? Giving me live. I'm looking for Queens. I don't know why it's not popping up for relevancy. Maybe it does sometimes show the viewership is going high. It's not going down just by the numbers and their total subscribers. They are picking back up a little bit. It's not like in reality they really are not actually hitting down. They're on a downward trend. That can be subscriber rate, but they would never the thing about subscribers is like they never really were focused on subscribers. They were really more focused on streaming than subscribing. So they were focusing more on views. But I mean, I'm not saying views and subscribers don't correlate, but like, you know. Oh my god, I hit the daily limit. Hold up. I fucking hate. Let me pop it up on Google. Oh my god. Can I pop it up somewhere else? Can I pop it up in Hold up, guys. Hold up, guys. Let me pop it up somewhere else because I really freaking hate. I hate all this shit so freaking much. Let me see. It will pop it up. Yeah. All right. It pops up on this right here. So we can do. We're just gonna. From what I can see, at least on Edge, the super chat numbers are like on a downward trend, but they haven't been. The thing about it is that their numbers on the super chat have been going down for a period of time. I would say for a long time their numbers have been going down for their super chat. Even before Becky left, their numbers were already going down prior to this. There's only been a few times where they hit above like $600. They were going like 1,000 at the most. So they've been already hitting that number even beforehand. And their live concurrent views were their views were high, so it compensated, but their views were dropping for a bit of time anyway. So, you know, and the, you know, Becky's stuff isn't any better. Becky's numbers are already dropping faster and faster, which gives credence to the whole thing that maybe they've been botting their stuff early on. But as I said, like, I mean, there will be a video coming out later on the day talking about it in more in depth. But in the end, my final opinion would be like, imagine thinking that Queen's stuff, imagine thinking that Becky's stuff is better than Queen, which it isn't, or thinking that it's better than anything that's been done in the LCU, which it really isn't, because the LCU is a very diverse group of different channels. You know, if you want to cope, but you look really dumb regardless. I think that's all I can really say. And we're gonna end the stream off here. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks for joining. Remember to like, subscribe, dislike, share, whatever. Till next time, have a good one. And cue the outro.